Shalom, family!
Shalom, family!
Today we are going to talk about the fruits of the Spirit as found in Galatians 5. We're going to do this study together, and we hope that it is a barakah to you all.
Keep in mind that this is a letter that Shaul wrote to the assembly of the Galatians in response to a letter that they wrote him. Unfortunately, we do not have the corresponding letter. He is explaining Torah concepts to them. Galatians 5:14. For the entire Torah is completed in one word. In this, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. Yahusha was asked, what was the first and great command? And he said,
Matthew 22:37. And Yahusha said to him, you shall love Yahuwah your Elohim with all your heart, with all your being, and with all your mind. This is the first and great command, and the second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. What is being referred to in this passage is the covenant of love, the 10 commandments. The first 4 commands are summed up in, you shall love Yahuwah your Elohim with all your heart, with all your being, and with all your mind. This corresponds with, I am Yahuwah your Elohim, who brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim, out of the house of bondage. You have no other mighty ones against my face. You do not make for yourself a carved image of any likeness which is in the heavens above, or which is in the earth beneath, or which is in the waters under the earth. You do not bow down to them, nor serve them. You do not bring the name of Yahuwah your Elohim to naught, for Yahweh does not leave him unpunished who brings his name to naught. Guard the Shabbat day to set it apart, as Yahuwah your Elohim commanded you. 6 days you labor and shall do all your work. But the 7th day is a Shabbat of Yahuwah your Elohim. You do not do any work, you, nor your son, nor your daughter, nor your male servant, nor your female servant, nor your ox, nor your donkey, nor any of your cattle, nor your stranger who is within your gates, so that your male servant and your female servant rest as you do.
The second command that Yahusha said is, and you shall love your neighbor as yourself. This command corresponds with, respect your father and your mother, as Yahuwah your Elohim has commanded you, so that your days are prolonged, and so that it is well with you on the soil which Yahuwah your Elohim is giving you. You do not murder, you do not commit adultery, you do not steal, you do not bear false witness against your neighbor, you do not covet your neighbor's wife, nor do you desire your neighbor's house, his field, nor his male servant, nor his female servant, his ox, nor his donkey, or whatever belongs to your neighbor. This is why Shaul, commonly known as Paul, said that the Torah was summed up in this one word, which is love. The word Torah, Strong's 8451, has the meaning of instruction and is made up of the Hebrew letters Ta, Ua, Resh, He. Ta has the meaning of a covenant. Ua has the meaning of a man, for man was made on the 6th day. Resh has the meaning of man's thoughts, and He has the meaning of spirit. The Hebrew word for spirit is Ruach. Therefore, the word Torah has the Otiot meaning of the covenant of man's thoughts in the spirit. This is how we are to walk.
It is said that the commandment stones are made of pure sapphire. This is interesting because of what it says in Shemoth Exodus 24:10. And they saw the Elohim of Yisrael, and under his feet like the paved work of a sapphire stone, and like the heavens for brightness. The commandments are instructions on how we are to walk, like walking in his footsteps that are made of pure sapphire. His commandments leading our way.
Galatians 5:15. And if you bite and devour one another, beware lest you be consumed by one another. And I say, walk in the Spirit, and you shall not accomplish the lust of the flesh. When you bite and devour one another, that is from the serpent. And how to walk in the flesh. But when you walk in the Spirit, you walk in Yahuwah's footsteps, keeping his commands written on the sapphire, the color of his footsteps.
Galatians 5:17. For the flesh lusts against the spirit, and the spirit against the flesh, and these are opposed to each other, so that you do not do what you desire to do. But if you are led by the Spirit, you are not under Torah. And the works of the flesh are well known, which are these: adultery, whoring, uncleanliness, and indecency, idolatry, drug sorcery, hatred, quarrels, jealousies, fits of rage, selfish ambitions, dissensions, factions, envy, murders, drunkenness, wild parties, and the like, of which I forewarn you, even as I also said before, that those who practice such as these shall not inherit the reign of Elohim.
Galatians 5:22. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, trustworthiness, gentleness, and self-control. Against such there is no Torah. And those who are of Messiah have impelled the flesh with its passions and the desires. If we live in the Spirit, let us also walk in the Spirit. Let us not become conceited, provoking one another, envying one another.
The first fruit of Spirit found in Galatians 5:22 is love. Strong's G26, agape, which means love, benevolence, goodwill, and esteem. It comes from the Hebrew word ahava. The interesting thing about agape is the number 26. If you add up the numbers of the letters in Yahuwah's name, it equals the value of 26. This is true love. The Hebrew word for love is ahav, Strong's 158. It is made up of 3 Hebrew letters, Aleph, He, and Bet. Aleph is the first letter. Yahuwah is our leader, and he is first. The letter He means Ruach, and the letter Bet is a picture of man's tent. Therefore, the word Ahav means Yahuwah's Ruach in man's tent. He placed his Ruach inside of a man and lived a flawless life, and died on the cursed tree to free his bride from the curse and wash her clean in his own blood, to make her into an innocent maiden. No greater love than this, that a man should lay down his life for a friend. By his great act on the tree, he poured out the Ruach on all who believe in him. Ahav. Like the word Ahav that describes this perfectly, true love is Yahuwah's Ruach in man's tent. Yahusha came as a man filled with Yahuwah's Ruach to free his bride out of true love. The word Ahava is Strong's 160. This word has man's tent surrounded by the Ruach, man being sheltered in the love of the Father.
The next fruit found in Galatians 5 is kara, which is Greek Strong's 5479. It means joy, gladness, a source of joy, and is characterized by a sense of inner peace and contentment that transcends worldly trouble. It comes from the Hebrew word, Hebrew Strong's 8057, shamka. Shamka, Hebrew Strong's 8057, is made up of the Hebrew letters Shin, Mem, Chet, He. Shin represents divine, Mem represents truth, Chet represents covering, and He represents Ruach. These letters combined could mean the divine true covering of the Ruach. In Tehillim, Psalm 91:4, he covers you with his feathers, and under his wings you take refuge. His truth is a shield and armor.
The next word in Galatians 5:22 is peace, which is Greek Strong's 1515 Irene. Irene means peace, peace of mind, invocation of peace, and a common Jewish farewell in the Hebraic sense of health and welfare. The Hebrew word for peace is shalom, Strong's 7965, which means peace, completeness, well-being, safety, and prosperity. This word is made up of 4 Hebrew letters. Shin, which means divine power. The next letter is Lamed, a picture of the shepherd's staff that both guides and instructs us on our way. The next letter, Ua, represents man, for man was made on the 6th day. And the final letter is Mem, that means water and truth. Therefore, the Otiot meaning of shalom is divinely guiding man to the water. For water is a source of peace and an oasis in the dry land. Water was a source of safety and relief when found. Water is a symbol of peace in Yeshayahu, Isaiah 66:12. For thus says Yahuwah, see, I am extending peace to her like a river, and the esteem of nations like a flowing stream. And you shall feed, and you shall be carried on the side, and be fondled on her knees. Leading someone to the truth is like leading them to waters of peace, for it restores man's soul. Yahuwah is my shepherd, I do not lack. He makes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He turns back my being. He leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake.
The next fruit in this passage for patience is Greek Strong's 3115, macrothumia, which means patience, forbearance, and long-suffering. The Hebrew word for long-suffering is sabonut, spelled samek, biet, lamed, nun, ua, and ta. This word comes from the root word sabal, Strong's 5445. This word means to carry, be burdensome, to suffer, and endure. This word was used prophetically in Yeshayahu to describe our Messiah. Yeshayahu, Isaiah 53:11. He would see the result of the suffering of his life and be satisfied. Through his knowledge, my righteous servant makes many righteous, and he bears their crookednesses. In this passage, the word for he bears their crookedness is sabal. Interestingly, thorns are used to describe sinners all throughout Scripture, and you see this is in the Otiot of this word. The word for long-suffering is sabal, with a suffix added. This word is sabonut, spelled samek, which means to lean upon and uphold, and also means thorn, as in a crown of thorns. And samek can mean pierce, for he was pierced for our transgressions. The next letter is biet. Biet has a meaning of a house or tent, and lamed is a picture of the shepherd's staff. Sabal shows the crown of thorns on the tent. Man's tent is his body. And shepherd, for by his act on the cursed tree, by his suffering, he carried the burden of many. The next letter is nun, and this means new beginning, for his sacrifice brings a man a new beginning. And the next letter is ua. This means man, for he suffered for man, to give us the renewed covenant seen in the next letter ta. This word sabonut shows the beauty of our Messiah Yahusha. The crown of thorns on the body of the shepherd gave a new beginning to man in covenant.
The word for kindness in this passage is Greek Strong's 5544, Christotes, which means goodness, kindness, and gentleness. The Hebrew word for this is Strong's 2617, chesed, which means loving kindness, mercy, steadfast, love, faithfulness, and goodness. The word is made up of 3 Hebrew letters, chet, which means a covering, samek, which means a thorn, and dalet, which means a door. The Otiot meaning of chesed is covering the thorn door or opening. Thorns cause painful openings, and thorns contain poison that causes the pain to remain for a while after you cover it with a bandage. Like when others are unkind to us, that pain remains for a while. True kindness is enduring that pain and covering it in love. The word chesed also contains the word sod, Strong's 5465, which means stocks for the feet of prisoners. Even though a person deserves prison for the crime that they have committed, true mercy, the meaning of chesed, forgives that person and covers that deed. The letter chet is that covering. Bamidbar, Numbers 14:18. Yahuwah is patient and of great loving commitment, forgiving crookedness and transgression, but by no means leaving unpunished, visiting the crookedness of the fathers on the children to the third and fourth generation.
The next fruit of the Ruach is the word for goodness. In this passage, it is Greek Strong's 19, agathusun, which means goodness. The Hebrew word for this is Strong's 2898, tob, which means good, goodness, gladness, and welfare. This word is made up of 3 Abarith Hebrew letters. Tet, which has the meaning of a basket that contains something good, like fish or bread, and this can mean the womb. The next letter is Ua. This means man, for man was made on the 6th day. The last letter is Biet, a picture of a man's tent. This word means goodness inside the tent of man. Tehillim, Psalm 106:5. To see the good of your chosen ones, to rejoice in the gladness of your nation, to make my boast with your inheritance.
The word for faithfulness in this passage is Greek Strong 4102, pistos, which means faith, belief, trust, confidence, fidelity, faithfulness. The Hebrew word for this is Strong's 530, emunah, which means firmness, security, fidelity. This word is made up of 5 Hebrew letters. Aleph, which is the first Hebrew letter, and it means leader, for Yahuwah is first, and he is our leader. The next letter is Mem. This letter has the meaning of water. The word is the water. The next letter is Ua, which means man, for man was made on the 6th day. The next letter is Nun. Nun has the meaning of continual, like the seed of a plant that continues. And the last letter is He, which has the meaning of the Ruach. The word emunah has the Otiot meaning of Yahuwah's word in man, continuing in the Ruach. For when we walk in Yahuwah's word, continuing in the Ruach, we are walking steadfast in the belief. Proverbs 28:20. A faithful man shall abound with blessings, but he that maketh haste to be rich shall not be innocent.
The next word, gentleness, is found in Galataim 5:23, and that word is Greek Strong's 4240, proutes, which means mildness, gentleness, and also means meek. The Abarith word for this is Strong's 6038, anua, which means humility, meekness, and gentleness. This word is made up of 4 Hebrew letters. The first letter is ayin, which has the meaning of eye. The eye is the fountain of the body. The word ayin means spring, for it is believed that springs were the tears of the earth. The next letter is nun, which has the meaning of humble and faithful. The next letter is ua. It means man. And the last letter is he, which means the Ruach, the Spirit. The Otiot meaning for the word anua, the tears of the humble man in the Ruach. This word is used in Zephaniah 2:3. Seek Yahuwah, all you meek ones of the earth, who have done his right ruling. Seek righteousness, seek meekness, if so be that you are hidden in the day of wrath of Yahuwah.
The last fruit of the Spirit found in Galatians 5 is self-control. Greek Strong's 1466 in kratia, which means self-mastery, self-restraint, self-control, and continence. In Hebrew, this is two words that mean to walk humbly. The two words are Strong's 6800 za'ana, which means to be modest or humble, and Strong's 1980 halak, which means to walk. Za'ana is made up of three Hebrew letters: Zadi, which has the meaning of the way or path; Nun, which means to be humble; and Ayin, which means sight, as in spiritual sight. This word has the Otiot meaning of the path of the humble sight. When combined with the word walk, which is the word halak, made up of He, which means the Ruach, and Lamed, which means to shepherd or lead, and Kaf, which means hand, you have the path of the humble sight, being led by the hand of the Ruach. When we walk in humility, in self-control, we are being led by the Ruach HaKodesh. Micah 6:8. He has declared to you, O man, what is good, and what does Yahuwah require of you, but to do right, and to love loving commitment, and to walk humbly with your Elohim. Galatians 5:24. And those who are of Messiah have impaled the flesh with its passions and the desires. If we live in the Spirit, let us also walk in the Spirit. Let us not become conceited, provoking one another, envying one another. Shalom, family. Well, we just want to thank you guys for supporting our channel and always being such a blessing to us. We hope that this video that we made together for you guys blesses you guys.
Yeah.
And
It's really a beautiful, in the Otiot, it's really a beautiful picture of what Messiah and what our Creator has done for us, so that we can have the tree of life,
That's right.
that good tree, and the fruits that He produces, and then we are to walk in likeness of that and produce those fruits.
Right. So we just wanted to share this with you guys. We hope that it blesses each and every one of you, and we want to thank you for supporting our channel. We love you guys. We'll talk to you later.
Ahava and Yahushua Mashiach. Shalom, shalom.